The other day I saw a video of Benjamin Netanyahu talking about the rot that is, anti-Semitism. And I found it ironic because if you swapped out anti-Semitism with Zionism, it works exactly the same way, because Zionism is the real rot. Like I've said before, there are three flavors of Zionism. There's the original Jewish, which started with Sabbatai Zevi, and then out of that came Frankism. Really, which is also basically just Luciferianism. Like it's the left-hand path of magic. So it originated there. It then moved into the Catholic Church, although you could kind of argue that there was always that rot within the Catholic Church. And again, it's like you will know a tree by the fruit it bears. A good fruit, or a good tree can only bear good fruit, and a bad tree will only bear bad fruit. So the roots of the Catholic Church have always been nefarious. Look into the black nobility of Venice and the popes in the Middle Ages that basically just bought that position. They claimed to be the Antichrist because they were actually Satan worshipers, Luciferian, or they follow that old religion of, Lucifer being the light bringer, right? See, Lucifer freed us from this demiurge, this inherent evil see, this is the thing. What we have is a failure to communicate. And everything has always been flipped on its head, right? So when Benjamin Netanyahu is going on about how anti-Semitism is this rot, well, no, it's the Zionism that's the rot. It's the Zionism that's the problem. The Zionism is, in the case of Netanyahu, it's Jewish supremacy, right? Like, Israel is an apartheid state where Palestinians are terrorists and should be murdered. Like right now, we're supposed to condone the genocide of Gaza, of the people of Gaza. And that's supposed to be fine because, World War II and the genocide. And if you don't let Israel do whatever it wants now, you're a genocide denier, etc., etc. You're an anti-Semite, which again is ironic because Semites are brown. Like, Palestinians are Semite. So really, you're kind of more anti-Semite than anybody. But that's really nothing new. You hypocrites and Pharisees. Like, this goes full circle, right? To Jesus saying, calling out the Pharisees for being hypocrites. That the temple is a temple of sin, carnage, blah, 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 whatever. Same old story, same old song and dance, my friend. So, yeah, like Benjamin Netanyahu is absolutely a Zionist supremacist who murders women and children and is now wanted in an international criminal court for that. But here's the other part of that, is that we need to understand that we are the hypocrites. We, the West, in particular the United States of America, but before that, Britain And, and we're dragged into that with the Five Eyes. But like I said before, my father was a part of a continuity of government operation, which was the Bay of Pigs. And it was happening without the president's knowledge. See, JFK was assassinated by the CIA because JFK was going to get rid of the CIA. Right? That's how that works. And so we need to understand that that was a coup d'etat. That needs to be recognized as a fact. So this unloading of partial information with the JFK file is not good enough, and shouldn't be good enough for anyone, because it's not the story. We already know everything that came out. That's where Brett Weinstein made a really interesting comment on that. And I know this is a fact in education with chat, whatever it is. But AI, right? AI is a game changer. And that you could have AI create a bunch of documents that kind of look like they're saying something new, but not. Right? That's the kind of stuff AI is perfect for, in fact. And why teachers can't tell if their students are making this up or if Google is, or a combination thereof. I don't know. This is the thing. We really are in an age now where the technology is getting, it's getting out of hand. In that, where do we go from here? I remember the old argument with the calculator, you're never going to have a calculator wherever you go. Well, actually I do, and it's also a computer, and takes great footage in your car, right? Great camera, great microphone in it, all good parts. Which reminds me of China and where we're at with this trade war and this sanity of what's happening right now. It's I have it really is unhinged. Wow. Feels like the wheels are falling off. But I mean, they've been falling off in slow motion now since 2016, right? It's funny that the Mayan calendar put that at 2012. And I mean, yeah, I suppose 2012 was when there was starting to be a bit of a shift in global awareness and consciousness. But you're really, really seeing it ramp up in 2016. Well, 2016 is when the entire planet got Trump derangement syndrome. And what did we get from Trump derangement syndrome? Well, now we have Trump actually doing strange stuff. In his first term, he was actually, I thought, surprisingly good. Other than he killed General Soleimani, the Iranian general, who was to put that into a Canadian perspective, it would be like Iran assassinating Chris Hadfield from Sarnia. Our national hero in space, right? That would have started World War III. Well, very easily. You need to understand that Iran, China, Russia, the big three kings of the East, to put this into end of times terminology, because whether you want to admit that or not, we are in the end times, the time of the apocalypse, where everything will be revealed. Which, again, seems to be the case. Although, revealed in very, very small doses. And this is where I think we really need a drastic change. So we need to understand that the CIA has been a rogue agent since before World War II, right? The Bush family financed the Nazis. The Bushes were Nazis. The Bush family are Nazis. They continue to be Nazis. These people are fascists because they are corporatists. right? See, and this is where America loses its mind because, capitalism is this divine thing sent by God. It'll just sort itself out. Just money will make everything right. Or not. Or money will just make everything a disaster, which it has. And the obvious case in point there is our medical system, which is a total train wreck. It makes people unhealthy. I'm living proof of that. So is pretty much every dude that's 55. Like, honestly, everyone's on at least like 15 different things. And it's probably not necessary. In fact, prevention, it would probably go a long way with that. But this is what I'm talking about. We need to understand that everything is stupid because it's driven by profit. And some things shouldn't be driven by profit. In fact, several things shouldn't be. Right? Like, obviously, when you make the medical industry an industry that's driven by profit, you have people then inspired to make custom-made flus in Harvard and then fly them on an Air Canada flight to China and release it in Wuhan. That actually may be what really happened with COVID. Jeffrey Sachs is now claiming it was made in Harvard. I'm not sure where I heard the other part about it being was shipped via Canada, but again, that is not at all shocking. Not at all. Again, my best friend in this lifetime who left me too early. Well, not just me, but his entire family. All of us. Like, his death was very, very tragic. But he also worked at Harvard, and he said that he doesn't get a cent unless he's designing something to kill someone in some way. Or maim them, or make them type 2 diabetes. Or have, some other chronic ailment that needs to be treated over and over and over again. Never cured, but treated indefinitely for the most capital gains. And when it comes to insurance, well, deny, defend, depose. Here's the thing. The CIA is warning that that Italian kid, Mangione, Luigi Mangione, that there would be a Robin Hood effect from that. And that's very interesting because that they would call a Robin Hood effect. I don't know, maybe. He's not really stealing from the rich. What he did was a completely justifiable act of jihad. And again, no one understands what jihad is. They just hear that word and think, oh, that's some kind of crazy Islamic Zionist thing. See, the Islamic Zionists are the wasabi, with the terrorists that we've created, that we hired to take over Syria, which was a democratically elected presidency. He went to Oxford, and he was actually elected. I had a student. I remember, when was that? Long time ago. But this was when they were ramping up an invasion with Syria, and I was saying how that was completely unjustified. There's nothing, what? He was not a tyrant, and he also didn't gas his own people. That's called a false flag. And if you think that false flags don't happen, they happen all the time. In fact, it's pretty much standard practice, right? someone gets shot, let's say Franz Ferdinand, well, we're going to start World War I over that. You know, it's an old playbook. And this, again, is where I find it kind of shocking that, you know, like I'm the only guy that figured this out. Well, I'm not the only guy that's figured this out, but, you know, let's just say that similar thinking people as myself are far and few between. Only because, you know, I've been questioning the narrative my entire life. Like I said, when I was a little kid. Well, that George Bush speech wasn't when I was a little kid. I was 19 then, so I was really actually quite political at that point. But I mean, I just always sensed the evil in that dude. Like, you could feel it, I think. Like, he was creepy AF. That's why he was a one-termer. But he led behind the scenes. Like, he absolutely puppeted Dick Cheney and Jr. Like, George Bush Jr. was never the president of anything. You know? It's just like, what, all right. You know? He's just driving that train high on cocaine, right? Like, and really, you could say that about Justin Trudeau. I mean, Pierre Trudeau's a Club of Rome guy. He, you know, liked to pee on children, apparently. Or at least that's what Kathy O'Brien says. And I can't remember the other girl's name that named him personally, but she was also, again, another sex slave survivor, sold into the industry by her parents. Like, this is the other, like, this is what doesn't get really talked about. But that's what you need to understand. Is that it's the parents of these children that are the real monsters. Right? And, you know, this I know from actual conversations with Goose. You know? And again, like my dad said, he said he felt sorry for them because they were really, truly sick. It's a mental illness. Pedophilia. I said, I don't know, you can call it that, I guess. Or you could just call it evil. But either way, we need to say no. Like, I'm going to end it on this. Because we're just about at an election in Canada. If you vote Liberal, you're an idiot. You are a stupid person and you're a hazard to yourself and others. Because you're either just waking out of a coma from the last 10 years, or you have the IQ of a 13-year-old girl who's in love with a boy toy with great socks. You know, like, the whole liberal thing, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. I'm predicting that they absolutely bomb. I'm thinking that it's going to be a blue wave in Canada. I mean, where I am, it's a, you know, staunchly conservative anyway. Like, you know, I don't, you know. I mean, full disclosure, I'll probably vote Green. But not because I want to. Because it's the only party that even comes close to having any kind of vision that I can get behind. You know? But again, this is just ignorance. No one understands anything, and that is on purpose. And this is why education has been such a failure. This is why policing is a failure. This is why everything is failing, because you don't even have people in these industries that have a fucking clue about anything. And what a democracy has to have, what a democracy must have in order to be a democracy, is an informed electorate. And we are not an informed electorate. In fact, anyone that believes any of the liberal stuff, that's full-on Santa Claus, Easter Bunny nonsense. I mean, it's been a gong show. It's been a total gong show. I hope, I don't know. I hope people start to wake up, because, like, dude, we're like 15 seconds to midnight. Closest ever that the doomsday clock has been. Was Pretty Socks worth that? I don't think so.